Okay, here we go. We're gonna try again. Second video. I'll just give you a little shot. This is my little computer desk area. Still trying to put it back together. Long story. Anyways, back on my last video I had posted, if you have any questions, anybody, leave a comment and I'll do the best I can to answer. Well, Beck had asked when was the first time I felt something. And I have to laugh. I spent literally all day yesterday going through, my journal, trying to find like some sort of good experience. And by the way, this is only one of my journals. These are just people I met over the years. Anyways, I tried to find, I don't know, I guess something I could share that, or even find that gave me some sort of reference as to when. All I can say is I've always had some sort of feeling, knowing. That's what my shaman teacher used to call it. It was a knowing. And, when children are little and they say they have an imaginary playmate, or they saw somebody in the room just staring at them, they can see spirit. They don't know they're not supposed to. It's the parents, the adults, who teach them that it's not real. It's just their imagination. So they stop believing and they stop seeing. Not all, but most do. Me, I can remember back as a child and having dreams that terrified me. And they were always the same type of theme. They always took place in the same house. I don't know why. But when I got to be about 9 or 10, I think would probably be the first time I actually really acknowledged. Me and my sister used to share a room, and there was something living in our attic area. We know. And being little kids, we nicknamed it Herman because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl or anything like that. And that would probably be my first time, and I would have been like maybe 9. But over the years, things started picking up. I would say in 2006, 2006 was probably like when I started going into or looking for groups on MySpace in the spiritual community. And if any of you are old enough to know MySpace, you remember the layouts and how the chats looked when you chatted, your groups, you remember. And I think I poked around in that community for maybe a year, not really getting to know anybody, just going around and seeing questions and realizing I might not be crazy. And in 2008 is really when things started picking up. By then I had already met a couple of people, like at the end of 2007. I had met a few people that actually came into my life. I didn't look for them. They came to me. And that is true of the way it works is like attracts like. You've heard that term, and it's true. And I used to have people randomly come up to me, I got many reads from people, and they all were helping to direct me. These people didn't know me. And every read that I ever got was pretty spot on, and it pushed me a little further. Well, the very first actual, I guess you would call it a page on MySpace that I ever went into and or followed, would be the term now, was a room run by this guy. And it was, believe it or not, I was his very first follower, and he literally had just opened the page that day. And I found it and became a member, and he became a teacher, So, yeah, from there, he gave me random reads. We would chat for hours online, and, he was able to give me messages from my guides and help me. Sorry if my voice is shaky. I'm really nervous about this. And he would help me to learn how to do things, because I didn't get into the reading of the books. Not every book clicks with everybody. Not every book teaches them what they need to know or learn. It's a natural thing, in my opinion. Yes, you can learn how to develop and work it through books and stuff like that, but a lot of people, it just comes naturally. And with me, it's a really weird experience, because it all started coming all at once, and I had no idea. And in 2008, I met my shaman, Mayan Dreaming. He went by a few different names. He was, and if anybody follows what I follow, he was kind of like the DOA. He was loved or he was hated. And it turned into that we had more of a connection that I didn't realize at the time. And those are some interesting things. Okay, so if you want to know what all my abilities are, and I don't have the correct terms. I have this journal, I have another journal, and I have a book that I kept all the lessons when I ran my group in there, to help other people so they didn't have to spend hours online. I worked, but I never slept. So I was up all night long doing research and doing stuff like that. I've got some interesting stories in here. Maybe one day I can share some. Back, by the way, your question, I read it wrong yesterday. And I literally went through this book 12 times. And I came across something I wanted to share with you. And for the life of me, I can't find it now, I looked and looked and looked all day yesterday. So I figure my guides are practical jokers sometimes, and they're very protective of me. And I'm assuming I am page blind now to finding what I wanted to share with you. And that's because either I'm not supposed to share it with you or anybody else, or I'm just not supposed to share it with you yet. But I thought it was something that you would find interesting. But anyways, my abilities that I know of, and I do not know how to control them or work them completely. And I've been doing this a long time. Is I'm able to see spirit, but not all the time, and normally not clearly. I see in what I call silhouette, and it's, the white background with the shadow figure, like this. This is how I see spirit sometimes. I read their energy. I can read energy. I am empath. I can hear spirit sometimes. Not so much voice, but they'll make noise. I have felt them touch me. I have dealt with being an empath and an energy worker. I'm also Reiki. That one was kind of interesting when that one came in. But I'm also open to psychic attacks, and I have dealt with those. Like I said, my guides are very protective of me, and they do whatever they can. But my message is, I'm not like your TV/cable psychics, John Edwards, Sylvia Brown, oh God, Teresa Caputo. Who's the young kid that looks like Macaulay Culkin? I'm not like any of those. And half the time, I'll tell you right now, they're not real. They're what they're called cold readers, which is they can fake the psychic reads. They listen, they watch, they know the standard questions. I'm not saying they're 100% fake. I'm just saying they're not 100% accurate. My guides like to talk to me through feeling or actual movement. I have, like when it was time to ask questions, I have what I termed my rock man, because if I would ask a question, I would literally, my whole body would literally like rock forwards or side to side. And sometimes we got the circle. And the circle to me, I always took as a maybe, or I just can't answer that. I have smelled smells. My grandparents used to come to me. Grandma always smelled of Emerald perfume. Grandpa always smelled of his Dutch Master cigars. Let me see. I don't want to make this too long and too drawn out, questiony. I mean, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me specifics. I mean, there's things that I have seen, like, okay, let's see, 2008, October 28. What does this one say? Woke, it's been interesting so far. Woke early, could not sleep, so I came out to the front room and made my coffee. Had a few hours till Gordy had to go to court. That went good, but bad. We don't need to worry about that. Before I woke Gordy up, I fell asleep on the couch for a few minutes. I see at first it started out as me and my daughter were taking my car to the shop to get fixed. Don't try to read my writing, it's chicken scratch. She went in to talk to the mechanics. While she was in there, a lady in a mini wagon backed into the parking space next to me. I see she had two babies in the car, but as she was backing in, she kept going until she backed into the wall and made a hole. She acted like she didn't even notice. Neither did the babies. My daughter came back out after a few minutes, and I went inside, but it turned into a neighborhood. My mom was there. I was sitting on the ground, and my mom said my sister was coming over. While I was sitting there, I had a metal box in my lap. I started to open the lid, but I seen white eyes looking at me from the woods, and I closed the box real fast, like I didn't want them or me to see in it. I looked at my daughter, and she said, "We can't take you to the dentist. It's too far to walk." So we were going to start walking home. As we started, I turned around and seen my sister walking down the sidewalk towards me. The next thing I knew, we were on the porch. I put my arms around her and kissed her on the right temple and told her, "I love you." I loved her, and I was still holding the box in my arms. She looked at me and then said to my mom, who was holding an empty sandwich bag, "You did right, Mom." She did not hold me or talk to me. My mom looked at my sister and said, "You did it. Uh, you should see the look in Rose's eyes. It was like a spiritual twinkle." Cindy closed her eyes, put her head on my chest, and I woke up. I was crying when I woke. What did this mean? Well, I lost my sister in 2006. So it's nice when she showed up. She's the one that kind of got me interested as a youngster in the psychic world, or in the belief. So this dream I still have not really been able to translate too much, but I'm sure one of these days I will. A lot of my messages come in riddle form, story form. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've had people channel my guides and just randomly rattle off messages to me in a my main guide is a Indian chief. And from what I've learned over the years of researching, and I never stopped until a few years ago, it is a dead language that he speaks. I have found similarities in some of the words that are spoken. So I have been able, like here's one. So if anybody knows any Native American written word or a good site to translate, this is stuff I get. They come in, they start rattling, I start writing, and I have no idea. I think I do have a page where I started to try to translate, and I came up with a few words. So, yeah, it's just interesting. I've had complete strangers walk up to me and say stuff to me, and, but yeah, if there's any specific type of questions, or even if you have any questions on my ramblings for today, I will do my best to be honest, share if I can. See, here's some more. Feel free to ask. I mean, if you're not interested in this, just let me know, and I can stop that too. The only reason why I'm doing this now is because I walked away years ago. I dismantled my group. I had a meltdown, and now I'm being, I guess, recalled, reawoken. I don't know. There's a reason, and we'll see what it is. But otherwise, I mean, I do have journals from 2008. This is just my 2008 to 2010. I have another one, I think, that's got another 4 or 5 years of sporadic writing. Everything was just, yeah. But I do have specific types of things. And if there's any questions about anything, candles, meanings, dreams, numbers, rocks, crystals, I have all of that information, or at least enough that would be sufficient to help you understand or pique your curiosity. So until then, sorry about 20 minutes of rambling, but at Beck, you asked, I did the best I could. If you want more clearer answers, just Ask more clear questions and we'll go from there, girl. Later.